Greetings friends. May I call you friends? After all, if you know Jesus, then you are a friend. I want to share with you the first time I saw Jesus. Although it happened many years ago, I still recall it as if it were yesterday, because seeing Jesus for the very first time was the absolute greatest day of my life. I will never ever forget it. I was sitting in my usual spot on the roadside just outside Jericho. For as long as I could remember, that was my spot. Since I was a child, all I could do was sit there all day and beg for any kind of help. I had to rely on the mercy of others. You have to understand. I never wanted to be a beggar, but I could not support myself because I was born blind. On that day the sun seemed hotter than usual for that time of year. I could hear laughter all around me, but I could not laugh. I had spent there most of the day, and no one stopped to give me a drink, or even just to say hello. Everyone knew who I was, and what my condition was, but they didn't care. I could hear children playing in the distance. It sounded like they were having fun. I could hear, "Tag, you're it?" and lots of laughing. It reminded me of the one and only time I had tried to play tag as a boy. That was a really dumb move. You can't tag something you can't see, so I came up with the brilliant idea that if they just made a noise like la 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 or something, I could catch them. The first time I tried to run, I ran straight into a sycamore tree. I can laugh about it now, but you can only imagine how silly I felt. All the other kids were laughing their heads off at least, and I was hurt both physically and emotionally. Now to be fair, they didn't know I was hurt and I was too proud to show them. They just thought it was funny. My mother came running out to find what had happened, and when I told her, all she could say was, "What were you thinking?" I don't know, was all I could come up with, but after that I never tried to play with them again. I can't blame them for that. After all, who wants to hang around with a blind kid? I would have been more of a burden than a friend, so I backed away from trying to make friends. I was telling you about the day I met Jesus. Even though the market was in the distance, I could smell all the fruit and food that was being sold. I could practically taste all the cooking that was happening in the city, and hear all kinds of animals making noises from the market. Friends, it can be torture to sense food all around you, when you have nothing to eat. My stomach longed for the day it would be full. To be able to say to anyone, "No thank you, I couldn't eat another thing," that was just a dream for me. I also recall on that day, that everyone was doing their best to avoid me. Even though I was blind, I'm not stupid. I can tell when people deliberately walk on the other side of the road just to avoid me. But you know what was worse than being avoided was, they would talk about me behind my back saying, "Why is he always sitting there? Can't he go somewhere else, so we don't have to look at him?" But the absolute worst was the debate some would get into on who was the greater sinner in my family that caused my blindness, me or my parents. They said this thinking I could not hear them. I have to tell you, my hearing is very good, and I heard everything they said about me, and it was very hurtful. My parents were good people that worked hard to provide for me while they were alive. I would cry out, "Please, I know you are there, I can hear you. Can you not spare something? A piece of bread, a drink of water, or a penny?" I would have taken anything, but I did not exist to them that day. They were as blind to me as I was to them. They did not give me anything. I am not sure how, but suddenly I felt the strange sensation that something was going to happen. There was a feeling of excitement in the air. Crowds of people were passing by me in a hurry. Some were running and others were shouting with excitement, saying things like, "Is that him or a disciple? He's coming. He will soon be here. What's happening?" I shouted, but no one responded. "Can you please tell me what is happening?" He said, "Jesus of Nazareth is heading this way." What's that, I thought. Jesus was coming to Jericho. I had heard about him. He was the Messiah, the Son of God. I heard how he had performed many miracles in other cities. Did you know Jesus once fed 5,000 people with just a few loaves of bread and fish? The people were so full that there was actually not one or two, but 12 baskets of food left over. Can you imagine that? I would have loved to have been there for that feast. Jesus had also healed many from all kinds of sickness and even cast out demons. He even had command of the wind and rain. But most importantly, Jesus was coming this way. I had to get his attention, so I shouted, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." I was immediately shaken by someone and sharply told to be quiet. I was embarrassing him. Oh, so now I exist to you, I thought. Well, I had enough, and I didn't care anymore. I was not going to be ignored. I had to get Jesus' attention. This was my chance, and I was not going to let it get by, so I just kept shouting as loud as I could above the noise. "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, Son of David, please have mercy on me." I kept shouting till my voice was almost gone. All of a sudden everything went quiet and some people started to lead me away. I thought, this is it. They were going to take me away and beat me, but then they stopped. I then heard the most beautiful voice that I will never, ever, forget. "What do you want me to do for you?" the voice said, and I knew at that moment that this was Jesus. I was speechless. I had to catch my breath. You see, it had been a long time prior to this before someone had spoken to me like this. They never asked what they could do for me. They always treated me with anger or contempt, but this voice spoke out of love. At that moment I knew the Son of God, our Messiah, was standing right in front of me, asking me, the dirty, unloved, blind, beggar, like I was the only one he cared for in that entire crowd. What could he do? My eyes were burning with tears. There were all kinds of things that I wanted, but all I could say was, "Lord, I want to see." I then fell to the ground and wept and wept. Then in the most tender voice I heard, "Receive your sight, my friend, your faith has healed you." Like I said, that was many years ago, but Jesus still lives in my heart today. You know, the scribes and the Pharisees tried to kill Jesus. They had him crucified, and buried in the tomb. But Jesus rose from the grave on the third day, and many people had witnessed this. Even me. After 40 days from his resurrection, Jesus went to heaven, but I can tell you with all confidence that Jesus is alive today and living in the hearts of his people. Listen to me. Just as Jesus met me on the road to Jericho, so he wants to meet you where you are. You don't have to search for him. He is here. Here. He knows you just as well as he knows me. He is longing to meet with you. Jesus wants to show you his face in ways that you can't possibly imagine. He loves you and is willing to live by your side forever. It's true. Look. If you don't know him, there is no better time than now to meet him. Thank you for listening to my story, and may God bless you.